you have to see the world through the character's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be judgmental, you can't like or dislike, you have to see the world through them.
To talk a little bit more about the going from Phoebe in series 1, I mean, I know she didn't write it exclusively, but, you know, largely it was Phoebe's words, to moving through to different writers. How much do you think about the character kind of progressing, and how much can you know, how much does she still feel like the original character that Phoebe wrote?
Well, I mean, it's a multitude of things, really. I think what I really enjoy now is finding a confidence within myself of going, I feel as though I know her more than anyone now because I played her for so long. So to find that confidence within yourself is actually a lot of fun. And you're right, you know, with having new writers, it changes the energy, it changes the dynamic, and it makes it a really, you know, it's a real collaboration, and it's all about conversation. I think what I've learned is going through each season is that being honest about what you loved and maybe what didn't feel as natural or what didn't feel right. And, you know, I feel very lucky to be able to have these conversations, and you know, Sid Gentle and the production team are always wanting my opinions and my feelings. So you feel really valued in that, space, you know.
Suranne, is that the same for you? I mean, you know, Sally is such a particular writer. She's got such a style. We know her so well. Did you feel at all confident, or how confident did you feel about kind of putting your own mark onto her words?
Well, at the initial meeting, Sally, just before we were about to read, she said, I don't know who's going to play this, because there need to be this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and I don't know who's going to do it. Would you like to read that scene? I was like, okay. I mean, the pressure was quite something, but I think, and she'd seen a lot of people, but I think what Sally and me had was just this love for Anne Lister, and this deep passion of wanting to dive into every aspect of her and try and get as much as we possibly could. So we fell in love with each other. We fell in love with Anne Lister. She took me to Shibden, and we walked and we talked and we stomped around the ground. And then Sally started to write with me in mind. And we worked so closely on all the diaries until it became apparent that we couldn't ever get through all that stuff. And we had to concentrate on what we were doing in season 1. And then we were sat in her kitchen going through some stuff. And she said, I want you to exec next year because I feel like we're in this together. And so they invited me to do that this year, which is amazing. So we work really closely, and being on the production team from the beginning this year has just been amazing. And like Jode said, you know, you feel very privileged because when you're a young baby actor, you don't get that privilege. You know, you don't get asked, or you do, and then they say, oh great, and then you don't quite feel like you've been listened to. So it's amazing to be part of something, because you're carrying it as well. So it's really important that you're happy on set, or as happy as you can be with all the other decisions that are going on. And so yeah, I feel like I'm really part of that team moving forward now. But it's certainly a privilege, and I know that.
Glenda, do you still feel that? I mean, you presumably, you know, the others were more or less sort of on equal footings with the collaborators that they worked with, but you have years of amazing experience, and your writer and your director, while they are established figures in the industry, are sort of, you know, running in your wake. Like, how much did you feel?
They don't know that.
But how much did you feel able to, or how much do you put your own stamp onto their words? How fixed was Andrea's script?
Well, but let me go to my basic rule. You have to see the world through the character's eyes. You can't be judgmental, you can't like or dislike, you have to see the world through them. And the other rule is that everyone is responsible for the whole show, however large, however small, be it a play, be it a film, be it TV. So the things that my two preceding actresses have been speaking of, which is that community, that sense of community, that closeness, that working together is vitally important. And that was something that we had in spades when we did Elizabeth is Missing. We had a marvelous cast, a marvelous crew. It was really amazing to do it. There were days when I thought I'd contracted, if not one, at least both of the diseases, but that's part and parcel of the work we do, you know.
You started to talk before about the relationship of dementia, and that's why you were kind of interested. Sort of, what did you do in the way of research, or kind of how much do you let the writer get on and do that research, and how much do you get involved in the kind of backstory of your character?
Well, obviously, the book itself, Elizabeth is Missing, is the report of, as I've said, her granddaughter seeing her grandmother go through this. And also the producers on the film introduced me to doctors who actually work, well, certainly one doctor who works in this field. I believe she's chair of the Dementia Society. And one of the things that I found most curious in reading the script was a woman who had been, the kind of ideal wife, mother, never caused any trouble, never had any rows. In the throes of the illness, becomes, upon occasions, absolutely furious. And I said to the doctor, where does that come from? Where does that, corrupted energy in a way come from? And she said something which I found immensely helpful. She said, it's frustration. And that I could understand. You know what I mean? We all feel frustrated, but in that sense, where you're feeling something which the individual is, but they don't know what it is or where it's come from, that was an added, light to be able to see through what is going on. But it is something that, as I've said, we are living longer, not only in this country, but all Western, it seems to me, democratic societies are. And these illnesses are there, they're present. And we as a society have to accept that this is not just on the basic level of being nice or kind or caring for people. This is something that we as a society are going to have to deal with. And it is one of the terrible pluses, if there can be a plus about the COVID crisis we're in at the moment, is that the whole issue of social care is going up the political ladder. And it's to be hoped that there can be an approach to these particular illnesses which do not become party political. They are national. They affect us all in one way or another. And so we have to bite the bullet, rather unfortunate choice of phrase, but acknowledge that this is waiting out there, and we as a society have to gather ourselves together and do something about it, something positive about it.
Those moments, Glenda, were just like so, because my mum had Alzheimer's and I work with the Alzheimer's Society, and those anger, that anger, that frustration, and the bravery you had to really go for those moments, because they're shocking. And they're shocking in a drama, but in real life they're really heartbreaking and really shocking. And it's about people understanding people with dementia, people who live with dementia, and I think it was really important that those moments went in, because people don't understand. They're scared of people who show themselves like that, and if they don't know anything about the disease, then they're pushed to one side. So I just thought, I thought it was wonderful that side came out.
I very much hone in on what you said about people not understanding. I mean, because those words have been in our society for some time, so people know it's there. But I was amazed when the film came out, and I'd be, going down the local Tesco's or wherever, and people would come up to me and say that, they had that direct experience. But it is something that we know it's there, but we have, I think, as well, obviously I'm going to blame politicians for this, but we have as a society, and I think as all political parties, walked around this great big black hole that's out there waiting for us. And that is why hopefully now we will begin to realize that we have to do something, and the something that we have to do can be positive. It can engage us all. It's more than just finding another vaccine. Do you know what I mean? It's not down that area. It's how do we actually care for ourselves, because that's what we're talking about here, because our lifespan is extending. And we do have things as human beings that we can share with each other, that we can recognize. We've seen during this COVID pandemic, people doing the most extraordinary things to help each other. We just have to be very careful that it doesn't get pushed into some kind of box that says, oh, well, that's the NHS and social care or whatever, but it's got nothing to do with us. It does have something to do with all of us.